My name's Christian. I'm doing my honours degree at Ireland Fine Arts. I'm a film student and I focus around installation-based practices.
How have you found that loudness or elements of being loud or quiet really impact how you approach making your work?
I guess for me in my work, I try to make it universal to people. Like I don't want to put too much maybe like content in
Mm,
it. With the stuff that I make, I want people to approach it and then bring their own perspective and
mm.
thoughts and views onto it. But like, I guess my work, very subtly, there are like personal meanings behind it.
I think I really liked it when you started venturing out into the more expansive ways of using film and light and I was kind of thinking about how in relation to loudness, a lot of the ways that your film envelops a person within a space, depending on I guess depending on the mood, depending on the color that you select, like it's quite I don't know what the word is. Like, I don't want to just say loud. Don't want to just say like I almost said oppressive, and I was like, that's not really the right word, but
Yeah.
it's something like that. It's I guess it like forces you to acknowledge it, forces you to acknowledge the space that you're within
Mm.
and what it is that you're interacting with.
Yeah. When I do an installation, I think about the space beforehand and I want to kind of install stuff to kind of create like an experience and an environment because I tend to think about the people that are going to be in the room and how they're going to experience it and feel it. Because my favorite part at the end of the day is like when you've got a finished product and you want to like share it with people and for them to experience it. But yeah, I just was looking at film in a different way because when I thought about it, film in its essence is just light.
Mm.
But yeah, because I wanted to look at it in like a sculptural way. I've always really liked different light artists like Dan Flavin and James Turrell. There was some good artists that influenced me over my time. I think every year I just like went back to them and I was like,
Yeah,
that's what I'm referencing.
yeah. That's who I'm
um,
thinking of.
yeah.
I wanted to ask as well, how's postgrad been during this time? Like, what's
Um,
it been like doing all those meetings and like
I've been to one.
oh my god!
Um, I don't know. It was honestly, it was lovely to kind of just see everyone.
Yeah.
Felt like the Brainy Bunch. We were all kind of just like in
Aw.
a little thing. It was really cute, and
Yeah,
like it was kind of weird seeing everyone in a digital space like that. Just because like when you're in a room, I kind of don't really see everyone's faces, and
yeah.
I don't know. It was like kind of nice to see everyone. Yeah, even though I did just stare at myself most of the time, but
Make sure you look good.
yeah,
'Cause that article you sent me about, what was it? The Zoom
Zoom fatigue.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I've always found it so weird, especially after that meeting. It
Yeah.
felt like it was such a weird ending to it. Like it was just like so
Everyone's like, "Bye."
everyone was like deleted, and it was kind of like shocked back to reality. It was like it was weird that ending, and then just being like, oh shit, I'm alone in my house.
Mm. I was thinking we could go into it a little bit more, like the differences between our loud selves and our quiet selves, and I was thinking a lot about when we first met at uni.
Oh, so cute. I thought you were
Ah!
like when I first met you, I thought you were like 23. You just like because you were so like tall and chic and like just like full black. And I was like, who is she? It
Truly,
was so
who is she
yummy.
now? And I was thinking about all those, like, times we've collaborated and we were really not only open, but, like, encouraging of each other, like, I don't know if you felt the same, but you definitely kind of helped me be brave in art school because I was always, like, scared to, like, do things by myself. I wanted to do weird stuff, but, like
Yeah. Yeah, when I think back of my experiences at art school, I think a lot of the stuff that we did together is probably my favorite moments.
yeah,
Also,
same.
it led to like really interesting stuff, not only like a collaborative projects, but in my own stuff. I think a lot of like what ended up being my final submission was
Mm.
ideas kind of taken from things that we were just experimenting and playing around with. But yeah, art school was an interesting time, and I can't believe I'm in my final year. Yeah, do you miss it?
Yeah, especially during the lockdown, I was like, "Damn, I wish, like, I could just go back to 4th year when we were always stressing out together and drinking like 4
Yeah.
cups of coffee every day, which was like good at the
Mm.
time. Like, oh, this is a reasonable amount to drink. I don't know. I miss all the easy access we had to like each other. Like we could just
Yeah.
go to a different building and be like, "Hi, Christian, let's go do something fun. Let's go get some food or something."
Yeah.
I really miss that.
Yeah. Art school was probably my favorite part of my life so far.
Same.
Yeah, just because I think going into it, I was a very shy person and probably not being exactly who I was, especially throughout high school and stuff. I mean, I was still a bit weird and kooky and stuff. But, no, just I think especially everyone who sees me now, who knew me back in high school, was like, "Wow, you've changed so much, and you're such a different person." But I
Yeah.
think it's just like being in a space surrounded by people similar to you with similar ideas and stuff.
Mm.
It was really good.
Really helped you open up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was somewhat similar, but in high school, I was like super. I went through so many phases. I was super,
I
super.
still remember like you showing me photos of you with like was it bald head and it was like
Yeah.
blue or something? Okay, bring it back. I was tempted to shave off my hair during isolation.
Oh, you had that. You had the calling.
Yeah, but I was like, "Oh, we don't have a shaver in the house, so I'm fine."
Use a razor.
Yeah, be here for a while.
I know this is like, I guess this is kind of like a personal question in a sense, but I guess coming from my personal experiences of being easily stereotyped because of who I am. I think most growing up, a lot of people kind of expected me to be very like, ooh, quiet and demure and thin and sensitive. And, ooh. But like for the most part, during high school and even for the most part of university, I think I was quite pretty loud and pretty obnoxious at times. And then like I don't know, in high school I used to think swearing was really cool. So it's like every second word that I said was basically a swear word, and I would yell all the time and scream all the time. But then I know that in itself was quite like, even though I acted out like that, people didn't really recognize or acknowledge the fact that I was like one person amongst
Mm.
a group of people or a group of Asians or whatever. Like it was just always like, oh, she's the quiet Asian one. And I'm wondering if you had like similar experiences of like that.
I mean, in a way, I always feel like I was because I was always a year younger than people in my year group. I mean, like a year's not a long time, but I guess like there was kind of this disconnect between us all. Like they all knew things that I didn't, and like I guess they knew things about me that I didn't even know yet.
Mm,
And so like I was like kind of playing catch up with everything. But then of course they would call me gay and stuff and all of that. And I didn't really know what that was. Or like let alone like, I didn't really think about it. That's not something you think about all that much. I guess I was never told not to act like a certain way or that when I was younger because my mum's great and I love her. And I was just raised to do whatever I wanted whenever I wanted. I had long hair. I played with girl toys. I was just like, free to do whatever I wanted. But then I didn't really question that until like other people started questioning me about it.
mm.
And then kind of all having all of that happen, I don't know. I haven't really thought about what um wow. Nice self It's kind of hard when everyone knows before you know or you're like accepting of yourself because I think when people would question me about it, of course I would say no because around that kind of time all I knew about being gay was
Mm,
like it was bad or like it wasn't something that you should be proud of
mm,
or I don't know. It was only a couple of years ago that I kind of I guess the start of uni is
mm,
when I kind of accepted myself and felt a bit more free to like explore who I am and do things and be a bit more loud and
mm,
not kind of hold back because during high school I think when everyone started questioning me and labeling me as like other I
mm.
did want to kind of like be quiet and not express myself and open up in that way but art school helped me be who I am today.
No, I understand what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very
Uh,
I don't know where I was going on this track, but I was definitely like
yeah.
being taken back. Like I
No,
think yeah, during high school I definitely like shut down,
mm.
which I didn't really think about until now.
Opening up some hidden
Yeah,
buried thoughts. I'm so sorry.
no, it's fine. Would you describe my art as loud? Because it doesn't really have a sound usually.
Yeah. Because it's kind of one of those things of like I wouldn't say loud, but then it's not quiet either.
Mm,
It's not something that you can just kind of ignore for the most part, Like I think the most quiet your films have been is probably the one from the student series show with the light flares from your fingers on the camera.
oh yeah,
Like,
that was
even
very
even then that wasn't really like a quiet work. It was like
yeah.
bursting. So I feel,
Mm,
yeah, I guess in a sense it is loud in terms of the way it demands your attention. And then in
mm,
other ways, I guess I think of the blue film, like I can feel the atmosphere through the imagery of the film.
mm,
And I don't need to hear like the rumbling of the bass or the rumbling of the music to know that it's a loud space or a loud scene. Like even the scene in the bus as well, I'm kind of like sent back into remembering all the times I used to bus in and out of town to school to uni to
mm,
work or whatever, and just I feel like it calls to a lot of things. Like
mm.
it engages more than just
Contemplative?
a visual sense. Yeah, it becomes more
Yeah.
complicated, and then when you start including like the physical architecture as well, and how you started to try and blur the space between the film and the structure of a room itself. I think that
Mm.
becomes really interesting and really
Because like silence can do that, I reckon.
uh, it just like really wraps you up, and it's not quite claustrophobic, but not
Mm.
fully free either. Like you don't feel like you can move fully comfortably, but then you do have space to move and stuff. Why do you think we dislike silence so much?
Stops me thinking too much up here.
Oh, get this under control.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I just get lost in thoughts and like I'm
Mm.
such someone who overthinks everything.
Mm.
And so I think just like having noise and being surrounded by other stuff to like capture my attention is great.
Do you think sometimes that we use our loudness to cover up certain truths about ourselves or our current state of being?
I think so.
Mm.
I definitely see my loudness. I mean where I see it the most is when I go out partying and I'm drinking. I think if anything, I use it just to express myself more.
Mm.
To maybe it's just like a release because
Mm.
I'm so used to like being quiet and trying to fit in and just coast and go through. Because I think a lot of my shyness is just trying to like get people to like me, I guess, because I
Mm.
don't want to stand out too much and or step on anyone's toes. But I guess when I do be loud, I think I'm just more fun when I'm louder and I'm making a mess and getting a bit crazy.
Is there something that you've learned or come to realize with growing up, being quiet or loud, or
Mm,
jumping between those states of being and figuring out how to interact with people, something that you've taught yourself or learnt about how much you're seen? Because I guess when I was younger, or like even now, I find it like I'm either one or the other. Like I'm either really, really quiet
mm,
and try and hide myself that way, or I become very so overly like cartoonishly loud that I overwhelm other people by me pretending to be this like very boisterous, confident person. And I guess it would be like,
Mm,
I would want people to know that it's not like it's not like that one or the other is better. It's just more like which one gives you the feeling of control, and which one do you feel control and calm with.
mm,
And I guess sometimes I feel like I use being loud a lot as like a release, like you were kind of talking about. Like I use it as a release rather than a form of control or expression, if that makes sense. Like I can end
yeah.
up somewhat abusing it and making a fool of myself or whatever.
That's the one thing I always am worried about is making a fool of myself.
The thing that always comes to my mind is that like cliched meme of like the feeling of wanting to be known and seen, but the
Mm,
horror of it as well. And like
yeah.
I guess it's like all I can think of whenever I'm thinking of being yeah being very loud and visible. I'm like I want
Mm.
attention, but I don't. Like
That's the out of this whole time quarantine, the one thing I've been wanting is attention. Have I been getting it? No. Do
no.
I crave it? Yeah.
Hmm.
No, I just didn't think I would be this alone at 22.
Oh,
Just kidding.
oh, big
No.
ouchies. What did you think you would be at 22?
I don't know. Is it bad to say that I've always thought I would die young?
Nah, I used to be the same. I was
Yeah. So like every year is a surprise because I've got nothing
like,
planned.
oh, made it through another one.
Yeah, pretty much I'm like, shit, what's happening next?
Add that to the tally. But
Yeah.
no,
But
no,
now I'm like, I
yeah,
don't I want to stick around for the long haul. I want to be like
I'm glad.
I want to be old as shit. Robots are here. I want them to put my body into a robot so I live even longer.
Amazing.
Because life's great.
Yeah,
Life's fun.
become
About
immortal.
experiences.
Mm.
Mm. No, I hope it's not expensive.
What?
Being a cyborg. I hope it's like, it gets to that day and age and it's just very accessible.
I think about all the
And
repairs you have to go through, all the updates.
so,
Like every other month is an update.
yeah,
Yeah,
I could do it.
yeah.
Cyborg life. I've just found it really hard dealing with the silence of it all, and like I
Mm.
just found a way by dealing with it just to chuck on some music really loud, dance around a little bit, get stupid.
Stupid. Get
Yeah,
crazy.